Just wanted to go through the beginning of Unit 2, which is all about short stories. And so we're going to be writing a number of short stories and different formats within this particular unit. So I have posted the schedule, even though it was posted today, that yesterday you were to start reading content. And so what I've actually done is I've broken down the content into the sections that it identifies there, the different parts of short stories. And so each day you're going to be looking at a different element or part of short stories. But as we look through this calendar, one of the things that I want you thinking about every single day is the culminating activity. So let's go see what's exactly going on. The due dates are posted here. They're also in here. I haven't posted one for the final culminating or the culminating activity for activity 1, but we'll get there. And so I'm believing it's going to be probably next Tuesday. So I'm going to go to content and hit up Unit 2, Activity 1. So we are learning all about short stories, and unlike most of your other English classes, instead of reading short stories, we're going to be creating them. So all of Unit 1 is about learning some of the skills that you'll need in order to be able to accomplish these. So here we have some information. This is your key part that we have lots of context here, and we have tons of activities in this particular Unit 2, Activity 1. So the very first one is about creating names of characters. And so we have a name generator here. So you can click through this activity and start creating names. So you can pick some of these and go through, and you're going to take this and actually post it into the discussion. I also wanted to show you that if this doesn't necessarily work for you, that you can actually click here. It will open it in a different tab. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through this activity and create names for characters, and then you can actually post those into the discussion. So that's coming up due tomorrow, which is Wednesday. The next thing that we want to do is we are looking at elements of fiction. And so these are often parts of a short story that we analyze. But as writers, what we want to make sure that we're doing is we're including these thoughts into our brainstorming and planning about our short stories. So thinking about what the storyline is, identifying what the message is that you want to have. Where does this story take place? The point of view is who is it from the perspective of, but also is it first person from the character or is it third person? And last but not least, developing those characters. So as we carry through, we have the setting and identifying that. So we have lots of information, and we're going to go through and see what activities they have for us. And here we have our next discussion where we are looking at settings and identifying and finding different settings, and then we're going to post those in the discussion. I'm going to carry on down to the bottom before I talk about the other activities, because as you're going through these, I want you to be thinking about brainstorming ideas for your own short story. So you are actually creating your own short story, and you can use any of these activities or the ideas that you come up from them, or you can use these activities to create new ideas for your own short story. So you're going to write a 300 to 500 word short story. That's not very long. So you're not writing a whole novel. It doesn't have a plot development. You're basically giving a snapshot, a picture of a situation and something that happens, that you're going to develop the character, you're going to develop the setting, you're going to identify all these parts of this story and write your own. So you can use these activities to help generate those ideas. Starting today, I want you to be thinking about what short story am I going to write? 300 to 500 words. So now that you've gone through characters and settings and elements and parts that need to be in there, and you're thinking about writing your own short story, we're going through the different parts of plot, and there's definitely some activities here. So again, each time you see one of these, you can click here and actually open it in a second. And these activities are to help you generate ideas, but also help you understand all the different parts that go into a story. So we're not necessarily writing a whole story about a quest, like Lord of the Rings here. We're just writing a very short story, but it's very important to understand sort of how plot development works and some of the key parts in thinking about what's going to happen during your story. So we're scrolling down and we're thinking about theme and characters, right? Round, flat characters, how we developed our characters. Remember that you developed a character sketch in Unit 1 and that you can use any of those characters, that you don't have to come up with every single one of these ideas from scratch. You also have your prompts that you created in Unit 1, Activity 1 or 2, which is meant to be a database for you to pull ideas from as to what this short story might be about. So all the different types of characters, and then we're going through themes, and there's a discussion here connected to the themes. So looking at the different themes and making a connection to this and posting it in the discussion. And each day, as you're thinking about this, you're brainstorming ideas and you're starting to write your short story, so that when we get to this on Friday at the very end, when we're done all of the other discussions, that we're not starting from scratch on Friday, starting to think about a short story, that by Friday you should have the concepts and that you've begun to write. So you can actually use this rolling randomizer at any time where you are writing a story, or it helps you generate some ideas. So in going through here, there we go. And then looking at different objects. So we could be writing a story about fading beauty. That includes a blanket, that we have dialogue, that you can have a catchphrase here, and that it would come up with that. I'm not actually clicking through that. It just randomly spins through and stops whenever it wants. So somewhere in my story, I could have, I never thought I'd see the day. And last but not least, I'm going to write a story that takes place at the grocery store, and it's about fading beauty. It includes a blanket. I never thought I'd see the day. So you don't actually have to use this, but if you're having trouble coming up with ideas about what to write about, this could definitely help. You could take any or all of these points. So again, by the end of the week, we have the beginnings of Brainstormed a Story, and we are definitely writing it 300 to 500 words. And we want to demonstrate all of these elements. Let's go through them again. So we want to be thinking about the name of the characters and character development. We want to be looking at all the different parts of plot and what goes into a story, all the elements of fiction. We want to be thinking about where this story takes place and how we describe it and why that might be important. Plot and the plot line, that we want to definitely have something, even if it's a snapshot, a small situation, maybe an interaction between two characters. What is the situation? What's the problem? And where are we going to come to where there will be a resolution one way or another to this particular problem? So we're going through and we're looking at all these different parts, developing our characters, making sure we know that our main character within this story, that we know why they are that way or how they are that way, and that we're making sure we can describe them, and that we have a conclusion or a purpose to the story. What do we learn at the very end of it? Okay, so this is Unit 1, Activity 2. I know it seems fairly quick right off the hop that we're getting into writing 300 to 500 words, and hopefully all of those activities that you go through and engaging in the discussion and commenting on the posts of others will help you generate some ideas.